go to live to Towie country, where we are thrilled to be joined by someone who didn't actually make the cast of Towie. Too good looking, apparently. It's a very good morning to Varun Chopra. How you doing, Chops?
Morning, Moots. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, it looks like you got a bit of a Towie pad there by the looks of it. It's all looking, the recessed lighting and all that, the white walls.
Yeah, they keep rejecting my applications, unfortunately. Now I've got a bit more time on my hands. I'll keep trying.
So, big news is that you've announced that you're retiring from first-class cricket after. I didn't realize just how long your career's been. I mean, you've been around a while now, haven't you?
Yeah, I think I signed my first professional contract in like 2005 with Essex and went on the pre-season tour there to South Africa. So many memories. Obviously, I can still remember that first tour and so many days leading up to this event. But 70 odd years in the game. Something that I'm really proud of. Obviously, there's been highs and lows, and some days you want to forget, days you will never forget. But all in all, it's been a really fun journey.
But it all started for you. You're Essex born and bred from Ilford. How old were you when you first sort of started picking up a bat and then realising that you were sort of half good at the game?
Yeah, mainly my dad introduced me to the game, so he took me down to Joe's, the Ilford Cricket School.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, I think I was about 6 years old at the time. Just loved it. I used to get dropped off every Saturday to play indoor cricket games. Every Saturday at Joe's, and if there was a player short, I'd fill in. Otherwise, I would just sit there all day and watch. Really, parents would just drop me off at 9 in the morning, pick me up at 5 at night or something like that, and I would play as much as I could. I think that's how the nickname Tiddle started. So I used to be really small really as a kid, and then I was always playing up with older boys and up age groups and things like that. So that's where Joe gave me that nickname. Obviously Ilford Cricket School still running, still the hub of the East London cricket, I guess. And it's still you can't get a lane there if you want to try and book a net.
Yeah, I went down there when I was young as well. It's kind of like legendary status in Essex cricket, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's remarkable. You still got a bit of a leaky roof and the facilities aren't the best or this and that, but it's still the place to go and learn your cricket and to practice and just to be around other good cricketers, to be honest.
It amazes me when you go there and you see like tiny little kids, but they've got technique already. You can see that they can bat and they can send a ball down, and you just think, my God,
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, I think they've got a little Instagram page now. So T-Ban, the coach there who runs it, puts up a few of the videos daily, and they're amazing. I think they've got proper techniques. How hopefully they come through the system and stay in love with the game.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's sort of part of a conveyor belt throughout Essex where you have like Ilford, and then you go on to things like the Essex Academy, where that the next stage of that progression. Now that's how you went through, and I keep banging on about this on the show about the academy and urge people to go down there and have a look at the honours board, because it is an amazing array of talent that was picked up and have come through that system, and you obviously being one of them.
Yeah, it's a fantastic academy. Obviously, seen other academies as well around the country. I can easily say Essex was ahead of the game really in terms of their academy, and the players they produce show that really. I think I'm not quite sure why it's better than the others, but I think the main reason when I was in the academy was just the people that are around you. So, we used to have people like Keith Fletcher, Graham Gooch, John Charles was running it back in the day, then Peter Such towards the later end, Terry Charrington. All these coaches were just actually really, really good coaches. And they just gave us all proper basics of the game, proper groundings. I think Essex has always been lucky where it does produce good young cricketers. So once you are in a bit of an environment with 10 other good young cricketers, you help each other and you kind of inspire each other. The competition starts, and you want to be better than your mate and things like that. So that sort of healthy competition in a kind of a select group, I think naturally doesn't make you better as well. But no, I can't speak highly enough of this academy, and very grateful for what they did for me in my career.
Did you have any famous contemporaries alongside you at that stage?
So my year was, I think I was in the first or the second academy group. So Alistair Cook was obviously an academy graduate.
Yeah.
I don't think Rav actually was ever on the academy, but we had
He
like
came a different way, Rab, didn't he?
Chambers, Mervyn Westfield.
Yeah.
Who else would have been there? Adam Wheater. I think Tom Wesley. A lot of the guys really that have coming through the Essex ranks now have all come through the academy. It doesn't mean you have to be on the academy, I must add. Like Nick Brown, perfect example, wasn't on the academy, a bit of a late developer, shall we say. Don't like that word, but wasn't on the academy, but still obviously having a really good career. So you don't have to be on the academy. I don't want to say to everyone you must be on the Essex Academy to become an Essex player. It's not the case. But if you do get on the academy, it's a good place to be.
It's a good point, actually, because the good example you've already given Brownie, but Tamal Mills didn't come that route. I mean, he didn't pick up a cricket ball until he was 14.
Yeah.
And then sort of exploded onto the scene, came through with Essex, and obviously moved on to Sussex and back part of the England setup again after all of his injury problems. So you're right, you don't need to go the one way to get into professional cricket.
No, definitely not.
So you explode into the Essex side, and at the time, the youngest guy to make a century on debut against Gloucestershire. What was that like?
It was obviously great. I mean, I kind of went into the Essex first team not really knowing. When you go into an Essex first team, from my experience, you don't really know what cricket is about, to be honest. So I didn't really know the players, because back then it used to be more of a first team, second team, and the change rooms didn't mix. It was kind of like us and them a little bit. It was a bit more divided. So I went in there, like I probably hadn't even spoke to some of the guys in the team ever before. Like I didn't really know them very well personally. But you go into the side, obviously Ronnie Irani was captain. He was really good with young players then, just giving you confidence and backing you. And I just went out and played, just took it as another game of cricket really, which I think is the best thing to do as a young player. And when you are young, you don't have any fear. You just go out and play, and there's no skeletons, there's no what ifs or anything like that. You just go and bat. I went out and batted and scored 100.
As you do.
Out second innings, and then it was like, oh yeah, great. Like just what you do kind of thing. Like when you play school cricket, when you play for even Sec 11, your job is to go and score 100, and you think, yeah, just try and do the same thing again. And luckily, obviously, it started off pretty well for me on my first season. And yeah, that always helps, I guess, when you get off to a good start.
Yeah. And then and you sort of pulled on the England shirt for the under-19s as well. And captain of England under-19s against Sri Lanka and then against India the following year.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I always enjoyed captaincy. I guess I was a student of the game. I used to always watch the game. I used to like watching the good players bat, bowl, field or whatever, and try and study and analyze and copy and imitate and whatever. So I always enjoyed the tactical side of things. I was never really good at bowling or anything like that, to be honest. So I think just something to keep me occupied, to be honest, as well. When I'm out in the field, you might as well captain. And it helped. It did help me, I think, throughout the career, just the leadership and taking the mind off just batting, to be honest. So yeah, for me, it was a good thing. And yeah, I really enjoyed captaincy.
Who did you sort of look up to in terms of being role models as captains?
I mean, obviously we had Nasser growing up. So his dad was like my grandfather. I guess he did a lot for the English game in general and for sort of, like the Asian cricketers in the game. So Michael Vaughan at the time when he won the 2005 Ashes was inspiring. Just how they kind of took the Aussies on for the first time, what I'd ever seen, where someone had actually stood up to those Aussies kind of thing and took them on head to head. So that was inspiring. The other things you just learn, getting to speak to people like Andy Flower and these guys with such great cricket brains. You just talk to them, you start talking about cricket in the bar or in the hotels or before the games and the drive into the grounds, and you're just constantly learning from these people. And I was lucky. I played with some great players, like a ridiculous list of players. So I was just silly not to pick their brain.
And you just sort of mentioned Varney's taking on the Australians. You had a little stint down there yourself, didn't you? Willetton Dragons, was it?
Yeah, Willetton. Loved them time there. 3 years, 3 out of 4 years. Obviously, another thing, Graham Gooch is kind of academy or sort of scholarship kind of scheme. We used to send a few of our Essex players out there and just learn about ourselves, play cricket, and it was great. I loved it. I loved the culture, the system. Obviously, just growing up, being away at 18, 19-year-old by yourself, it does just make you mature, doesn't it? Really quick.
Yeah.
But really good club, good people. Still in contact with a few of them, and no, I definitely enjoyed it. I went back there 3 times in 4 years, so I think that says enough how much I enjoyed it.
Well, I've had some decent names go through. I was looking at some of their old boys: Liam Livingston, Michael Beer, Alan Mullally, Cameron Bancroft. Not too shabby.
Yeah, Alistair Cook.
Oh, did he?
For a year as well. Brad Hogg.
Wow.
Sean Marsh, I think, was a junior there as well. So
what is it about that club that gets these players?
I think it was just good people. Good people, and you wanted to play there. The facilities were okay. It wasn't one. It's not one of the big clubs in Perth. It's not one of the the big branded, recognisable clubs. But no, it was just a good team with good people that kind of worked hard and I guess punched above their weight in many ways.
Yeah, and obviously synonymous with Essex, but you had a decent stint with Warwickshire. 2010, you moved up there to Edgbaston, and you had a pretty successful time and won some silverware, county championship, and the T20 title as well. So, was that a big culture change going there from Essex?
Yeah, it was. It was something that was definitely needed for me. It was a great move. I think I probably had my most successful years at Warwickshire, to be honest, personally. But it was a team when I joined, which was kind of in production. It was going through a bit of a transition phase. So there was an opportunity there. But the same thing, I went there. I didn't know anyone about the squad. I think I was actually in Australia when I signed my contract to go there. I think Essex were too happy at the time. Yeah. And it just happened. I just looked at it. I spoke to 2 people. I thought, yeah, okay, let's do it. Let's. If I'm going to make cricket work, I think I need to move. It's a big club. It's got good facilities. Whatever. Let's just do it. I think Gilo was in charge. I heard good things about him. So I said, right, let's just do it. Let's commit and take it on. And thankfully it worked out. And as I said, had a lot of success. Won every trophy there. Some good personal moments. And yeah, it was just part of a good team again. It was just a good team we built a good team together.
I've got a lovely photo of you at Lords for the Royal London Cup final when you're playing Durham. And my son, who's now a strapping 17-year-old, was mascot that day. He stood there looking as sheepish as you like, doing the toss. But he's still got that.
I bet he's not so innocent now.
No, not at all. Not at all. But it was a good time, like you said. Then you came back to Essex. And sort of have morphed into sort of a white ball specialist. You know, scoring runs.
Yeah, a little bit. It kind of, I think cricket, your roles always evolve, and you got to try and, I guess, play where you're going to add value. Obviously, with 4-day selection was pretty tricky for me. There's always a kind of a bit of a stumbling block or someone kind of blocking my path to get in or whatever. So when I did play, it didn't quite work out. So white ball, I guess, just naturally evolved. I started to learn how to hit a few sixes, and had a couple of good seasons with the white ball side, and obviously, it's good fun. Always playing at Chelmsford in the T20 games, sort of 50 over games. It's always a good wicket. The white ball disappears, and when you hit a couple into the river, it's a nice feeling.
Well, that's right. In that sort of all-conquering 2019 season where Essex won county championship, and that day at Edgbaston when they won the Blast, God, what a night that was. But I mean, it was nearly there in the Royal London as well, wasn't it? I mean, you got 3 centuries that year, and at one moment it did look like, God, we're going to win absolutely everything. But you were a big part in that charge in the Royal London, weren't you? Yeah,
50 over kip. It's always a game I've enjoyed. So batting the top of the order, you get 2 white balls filled up. It's quite nice, I guess. Physically, probably the hardest game, to be honest. My 50 over record was something I'm pretty proud of. It was good fun. Obviously, got to Lords on, I think, 4 occasions. Won 2, lost 2 with various teams of Essex and Warwickshire. So that was, I guess, pretty good. I know it's always it's a good format, and Essex has generally always been a decent white ball side, even back in the day.
Yeah.
It's slightly different, but it was always good fun playing at Essex and white ball cricket.
All right. So when you stand back and look at your career, forget the low points. Don't look at the low point. Is there any one moment that you look back on and think that was the best moment of my cricketing career? You got a high point, and that doesn't include playing at Billericay on the Lords of Essex.
Yeah, unfortunately, I played a bit too much at Billericay for the last year. It's a very difficult question. I mean, there's certain games you always remember. There's certain moments in games, I guess. I mean, my first innings, I'll always remember. Obviously, 100 on debut. You'll always remember the first trophy, the first major trophy, win the championship was great. First time, well, both times to be honest, is an amazing achievement to win a championship trophy once. I mean, so many great players go through careers without winning a trophy, So for me to have won, yeah. I'm sure it was the team's fault. Yeah, so it's difficult. It's difficult. There was that day-night game against Middlesex recently, a couple of years ago, where we won in the last over.
God.
So many wickets, that pink ball game, which was just a fantastic game to win. So there's so many moments. The T20 finals day, probably when I captained at Warwickshire, was something you'll never forget as well. But there's been so many. It's difficult. Even small things. You remember small partnerships with your mates, because you want to play with your mates. So I remember seeing me and Ravi hitting Glamorgan all around the ground at Chelmsford for half an hour. It was just great fun. You know what I mean? It's just cool. You just want to keep doing it. It's a
shame you weren't around when it was Rav's benefit year. We had a bit of a laugh that year.
Yeah,
I was running that, and that was interesting. So many stories about that. That's for another time. That's for a pint of beer, that one. But and the greatest player. So you say about your mates, but was there ever a moment where you looked across the dressing room and were completely starstruck to be playing alongside someone? I know you've played alongside so many top players, but was there any moment where you just sort of almost lost it, thinking, "What am I doing here?"
I think there's been moments where you see people play or train, and you're like, right, that's the level. They're a cut above, or these guys are properly good. So you do see that in players. Obviously, you could see it with Rav as a kid, and with Alistair Cook from an early age. Obviously Cookie was the best opener that I've ever played with, or played against. To be honest, he'll definitely make the 11. But no, they just did something slightly differently. Do you know what I mean? Their consistency was just at another level. Yeah. About the Trots, Bells, Wokeses, these guys, they were just so consistent day in, day out, and their level was so high. And the fact that they could repeat was something that I was always in admiration of. I would have good days where I'd feel, right, okay, I can bat as well as so-and-so, but then I'll be rubbish the next day. And then I'll be good again a week later, and then I'll be rubbish the day after that. And it was that consistency was kind of something that I could never really do as well as, the really top players. Even when they had a bad day, they still got 50 or 30 or something like that. Do you know what I mean? And they still contribute. Yeah,
it's the fine margins, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's what the really good players definitely did.
Okay, so cricket over. Got a young family, 2 young boys. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
To your missus as well. You've been picking up the microphone a bit the last couple of years, and I gather that you're off to go and help the BBC with their IPL coverage. Is that your next move?
Yeah, something that I've sort of dabbled with when cricket permitted. So now that I've got more time, I'll definitely like to explore that. But I think for me, for now, I've got a little bit of time just to assess. I've got a couple of irons in the fire, I guess. And so I think I'll just work out what I enjoy the most, what pays the bills the best, and what makes you happy, kind of thing. What fits in with a family life, family schedule. And we'll see. I said 2 young boys, knackered at the moment. So tired. So yeah, on the night shifts and just trying to get my sleep when I can. But no, looking forward to the future. At the moment, not missing the game or no regrets about leaving the game at all, which is a good sign.
Yeah.
So yeah, just looking forward to what the future brings.
Right, before I let you go, I've got two things that I just need to do. Firstly, on behalf of all Essex fans and behalf of all cricket fans and lovers, thank you for giving us all so much entertainment and pleasure.
No,
seriously, no, seriously. You do things that a lot of us just dream about, and to see people performing at that level and giving so much entertainment is a big thing. So, many, many thanks. Second thing on this show, we ask all of our guests to come up with some musical requests. You are no exception. You're not getting away with it. So okay. I would like you to request a track, which we will play straight after I finish this chat.
Okay, a track.
Anything you want.
Okay. It's a Tom Zanetti song called Didn't Know.
Perfect. Right.
It's a bit upbeat. It wakes me up in the mornings. Gets me in a good mood type song. Yeah, at the moment it's probably my favourite. Other than that, it's Baby White Noise. So you could choose.
Brilliant. Always a pleasure. Good to see you looking so well. Big smile on your face. And
thanks, mate.
All the best, mate. I'm sure we'll catch up in the near future. And we'll have to drag you down to the studio so you can practice some of your broadcasting.
Yeah, man. I enjoy listening to your show. Keep doing it. It makes people laugh. So well done and everything.
That's right. A bit like when I used to play cricket, that made people laugh as well. So. Varun Chopra, superb cricketer, and I'm sure we'll go on to bigger and better things now that he's hung his bat up. So many thanks for joining us on 98 Not Out.
Thanks, buddy.